Continuing on with Failsafe, the Kennedy Curse fused with science fiction fantasy, written by me, Susan MeeLing, Reverend Susan MeeLing, Lady Dori, Belle, Reverend MeeLing. The eyes were as a flame of fire, and on the head were many crowns. Dramatically adding, they had a name written that no man knew but themselves. One voice declared, "So says Revelations in chapter 19, verse 12, whispering through the headphones into the ears of each prisoner. Revelations chapter 21 in verse 5 says, "Write, for these words are true and faithful," taunting the prisoners with another copy of the same material. Chapter 14 verse 13 is similar. Rotating images projected to the captives' minds while saying, "Write, for blessed are the dead which die in the Lord," or lady, "from henceforth." The other added, "The Spirit has come so they may rest from their labors, and their works will follow them." Cackling together before the voices declared together all globally, "Here comes the wrath! Here comes the wrath!" Sadistically continuing with the banter between the voices. "Are you ready, all of you now? It is time for the wrath." There were some people watching who started to feel sympathy for the most powerful leaders of the world and the top 1% of the world's wealth. Many others watching simply laughed to themselves amidst the carnage and wreckage. Now, with each and every dirty little detail coming into the public knowledge, their thoughts and deeds were publicly judged all across the masses. Unknowing to the people watching the prisoners, the speakers projected the cries for justice for each individual those cherubim ones had directly affected, specifically into their ear canals. Each listened to their dirty laundry list with blood trails tied to them, capable to also hear individual thoughts not verbally expressed. The madness came to those cherubim minds. Squeals exploded from their pores while the general public sadistically laughed at the cherubim one's karmic expenses. At first, the cameras slowly, panoramically shifted to pass by every captive and focus on each minute detail in a three-dimensional holographic view, making sure to show a 365-degree rotating camera view on screen for the public to watch. It had additional pop-up windows for each powerful person. Each prisoner had 8 additional still camera angles showing within the video footage for the rotating cameras, while the masses listened to every dirty and juicy bit of hidden information of their dealings, their opinions projected into the appropriate headphones. Videos, voice recordings, private emails, retracted text messages before sending, and any other possible paper or digital trail had been produced for the masses to see. Growing increasingly upset, riots erupted in fury. Anyone minutely affected negatively by any side of the negotiation from the cherubim or lack of transparency filled with anger and released their frustrations on physical objects, starting to attack one another. Similar to ants in a frenzy, the prisoners heard and saw it all, while the masses stood watching the world burn around the cherubim ones and the images before them from below the ocean. Cries for help echoed in the dying waters, with every available human's attention lost to the images embedded within their brains. The cameras returned to the silhouette with another ear-piercing set of screeching. Instantly becoming zombie-like creatures, the remaining cherubim claimed humans returned to the unexplainable electric imaging, leaving the broken slats of wood with nails and screws in one side being used as a makeshift mace. People dropped everything to return. Metal bars were scattered throughout the streets from random explosions and destruction and chaos. Debris littered the ground as people walked over the shards of glass on their bare feet as if they were walking on fescue grass, scrambling in an energetically affecting rage within all beings. People started attacking one another because of the cherubim. The more injured people started attacking and tearing apart limbs of the strongest survivors of those cherubim together as a team effort. As blood sprayed from the victims onto the aggressors, they drank from the remaining life force from those dead. Fallen and disconnected wires became filled with energy and slithered along the ground, similar to snakes. Upon finding the next victims to strike, who really were not victims because they were cherubim, the cord strangled as the electrical current flowed at the fullest potential. Images of the online accounts continued flowing across the sky for all to see as holographic images flickering on and off. Another high-pitched shriek overcame the globe to gather all closer to the stations, while only when all eyes were focused on the holograms would the large shadows speak again. The first voice bellowed, "Before detailed explanations begin, your screens will show the synopsis." The shadow disappeared, and an image looking similar to a scroll of older papyrus parchment paper appeared on the screens universally for everyone to witness. Asian, Indian, and Jewish, wealth without work, pleasure without conscience, knowledge without character, commerce without morality, science without humanity, worship without sacrifice, politics without principle. African Muslim, proud look, lying tongue, shedding of innocent blood, devising wicked plots, swift to run mischief, deceitful witness, allowing lies, sowing discord among brothers. Pagans and shamans, lust and chastity, gluttony and temperance, greed, charity and generosity, sloth and diligence, wrath and patience, envy and kindness, pride and humility. Christianity and Zoroastrianism, spiritual temples and religious practices changed names, keeping average times. Deities lowered to the names of saints and lower realm entities, solely focusing all attention towards only one side, focusing on positive while ignoring the negative. Balance needed. People of Earth knew internally to panic, but were struck by the trance from the shadow images. While buildings and modes of transportations were engulfed within flames of blues and greens, people naturally stood by their electronic devices. Though the river waters instantly became filled with arsenic and chemical poisons, and forest animals were running towards civilizations to attack, no cherubim human was the wiser. Awaiting the next message from the technologically superior beings, the humans watched and listened for the next cues of the compassionate, honorable, and righteous ones. Most ignored the smells of the flesh burning nearby, while others screamed in agonizing pain before their cherubim death. Others kept themselves gathered by their projection screens, oblivious to any other circumstances, while the electrical poles tumbled similar to the domino effect in streetlight intersection monitor devices past crushingly dead bike riders and burning bicycles. Bridges which already had collapsed from the rumblings throughout the earth started levitating and reconstructing themselves, without anyone noticing. The floating structures lift higher into the clouds to pass through the air at intense speeds, stopping suddenly at the large blocked bridge creation slammed downward onto the earth, crushing all life below their masses. Salt from the ocean waters continued gathering into the clouds of the sky, while all of the bridges continued on their paths to stomp out all unworthy cherubim existence. People throughout the globe quickly started disappearing without anyone else knowing of the mass epidemic. Continued to be mesmerized by the holograms, everyone waited for further information. The loud voice declared, "The human brain has only been allowed to evolve with the ability to use at maximum up to 10% of the capacity, only because your existence has been under the testing phase for aeons. Have you been allowed to keep your lives?" Projecting images of spiritual symbols during the explanation, each solar system forms on its own accord, while others monitor the events. In order to keep all others throughout the rest of the universe safe, your galaxy is relocated outside the perimeters of allowed life forms. Chuckling, the voice said, "As you have labeled us with the label of aliens, we aliens monitor the progress of each new existence." Pausing briefly to reveal each individual's perception of a monstrosity to their brains, asking, "Do you believe the human race and this particular solar system deserves another chance?" Begging for a genuinely honest response. "Can anyone here be willing to attest and prove yourselves as an existence to be worthy to continue the evolutionary journey?" They asked, "Is the human race guilty or not of purposefully perverting innocence for mass-consumed pleasure?" The voice became another holographic depiction as it yelled, "We are done watching over you as if you are infantile subjects needing constant observation." The smaller creature projected a miniature version of the horrors for each person while declaring, "Let us go through the history of this your solar system. We shall begin discussing the realizations from your artists, scientists, writers, and creative minds outside of the box thinkers," proclaiming with a sadistic flair, "We will project all previous existences and experiences from other attempts from your souls simultaneously." More symbolic projections flashed as the bellowing voice stated, "In Revelations chapter 3, verse 8, it is written, I know thy works." Pictures and images changed within the hologram as the voice said, "Behold, for I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it." The other continued while images switched, "For thou hast a little strength, boy, and I have kept my word." The voices altered times of speech with their commentary and explanations. The history of all existence within the cherubim's version of the human race has denied my name, whereas the righteous, honorable, and compassionate ones hast not denied my name. The higher-pitched voice screamed, as many as I truly love, I rebuke and chasten. Yelling came, those who are guilty be zealous and therefore repent! The other declared, so says the book of Revelations in chapter 3, verse 19. Saying with a loud voice, worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive power and riches. Worthy is the Lamb which was slain in order to receive wisdom and strength. Worthy is the Lamb which had been slain to receive all honor and glory. Declaring loudly for all the universe to witness, worthy is the Lamb to be the only one to receive all blessings, to be shown in all light. All here now, every creature which is in heaven and on earth, all under the earth, and all such beings from within the depths of the sea. Interrupted by another voice. All that are in the universe heard of the bestowing of the blessings. Voices declared with excitement, all within the universe, behold the honor and the glory. Keeping the uplifted energy raised, may all powers be unto them who sits upon the throne and unto the Lamb forever in eternity. Finalizing the declarations after a momentary pause. Revelation states in chapter 5, verses 12 through 14. The booming voice softened politely to say to the crowds, by the way, my name is Kalima, mainly known throughout your Indian lands. Squeaking into audibility, I am Anubis, known throughout your Egyptian followers. The symbol slowed before stopping to show a holographic image of a different piece of papyrus parchment, with new information for the masses to process. Together, the voices read aloud the chapter with all the verses from the book of Revelations, chapter 16. Making sure to read through each verse from 1 through 21, all remaining on earth listened, while the voices of Kalima and Anubis read the chapters together. The book of Revelations, chapter 16, 1. And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of wrath of God upon the earth. 2. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, And there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had marked of the beast, and upon them worshipped his image. 3. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. 4. And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and the fountains of the waters, and they became blood. 5. And I heard the angel of the waters say, Thou art righteous, O Lord, or Lady, which art and was and shall be, because thou hast judged thus. 6. For they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. 7. And I heard another out of the altar say, Even so, God Almighty, true and righteous are thy judgments. 8. And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and the power was given unto her to scorch the cherubim with fire. 9. And they were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of God, which hath power over their plagues, and they repented not to give her glory. 10. And the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and the kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain. 11. And blasphemed the God of heavens, because their cherubim pains and sores, for not repenting of their deeds. 12. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of kings of the east might be prepared. 13. And I saw 3 unclean spirits, like frogs, come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. 14. For they are the spirits of the devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to battle that of the great day of God Almighty. 15. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watch and keep his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see the cherubim shame. 16. And they gathered together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. 17. And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, It is done. 18. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not seen men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake, and so great. 19. And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon came in remembrance before God, to give unto her the cup of wine of the fierceness of the wrath. 20. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. 21. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent, and men blasphemed God because of the plague of hail, for the plague thereof was exceeding and great. After everything had been completely stated, all stared in silent shock, while the public stood holding their wounds, screeching from the banshees overwhelmed all, wondering whether they should leave the frozen hologram to wait for the instructions. The people stood together. Thank you for tuning in for this reading of Failsafe, The Kennedy Curse, fused with science fiction fantasy, written by me, Susan MeeLing, Reverend MeeLing, Reverend Susan MeeLing, Lady Dori, Belle, a whole bunch of other things. Anyway, like this video, share with a bunch of your friends all over online. Thank you very much, and subscribe to my channel.